Hey guys, this is Introducing Emmy with another episode of Redline Tuesday. I think this is episode 11. And this one was sent to us by Karubi Shell. Let me go in there. Karubi Shell on deviantart.com. And this is his character, which I think it's pronounced Sneax. I'm not sure. But anyway, so let's get started. Real quick, I just want to say that off camera, I did some perspective work. We're having a lot of construction done on our condo right now, so did a little bit off camera, and all I did was kind of clean up the perspective of the vehicle. Also, this is kind of a large drawing, so I'm trying to find like a balance here. So here's what it looked like before, and here it is after. And to be honest, perspective isn't really that difficult, and I'm about to have my say on what I think of realistic perspective, and then we'll move on to the anatomy and other stuff. But basically, I just kind of winged this. I didn't like sit down and like do all the crisscrossing lines and everything, but I'll try to explain this a little bit and, you know, hope that you guys catch on. So, for a drawing like this, obviously he's not going for like uber realistic rendering or anything like that. So in my opinion, the interior of the car doesn't have to be, the perspective doesn't have to be like ultra realistic. It just has to be believable. So I did think about going and finding a model of a car to kind of like look at the interior and did it. And I thought, hey, I know what a car looks like in general, you know, so I winged it. So basically what I did was I found what I consider to be the center of the image, like where your perspective lines would connect. Okay, so it said right there, little hearts. Okay, that's our center. All right, so generally you want to find the strongest lines in the drawings. So for instance, like the top of the car, we know that's going to be vertical, okay? Or not vertical, horizontal. What am I even saying? So we know that these are going to be straight, all right? And since we're looking straight into the middle of the picture, all these lines are going to be straight, radiating back, okay? And I just put a little cross here to kind of help me keep my line here. So what else? And then I just kind of generally sketched the strongest lines towards the center of your perspective. So, you know, I was a little confused here because this seat has like the bars that like hold up the headrest coming out of the back of the seat, and this one didn't, so I just kind of fudged it a little bit in there. I don't know, maybe the car is supposed to be like that, I don't know. But also I noticed right away that the windshield just kind of continues straight, and that's not right. It would be radiating towards center. So just make sure that all this stuff's radiating in towards the center. I am not a car person. I do not draw cars very frequently. So I'm sure that you guys are all screaming at me like, that's all off! It's all wrong! But, you know, he can fix it. It's his drawing. If he wants to fix it, he'll fix it. So Jens, just get off my back. Ooh, now I'm playing. Whee! The other thing is, I was gonna say you might want to straighten the key out. Of course there would be a key in the car, and then the keys would, yeah, you could have them like kind of flying around, like rocking. Don't draw motion lines though. That's only for comics. Okay, and you know, and I just kind of winged the perspective on the steering wheel. I did, when I first started drawing this, I thought, no, I shouldn't just teach them, like, just to kind of, you know, fluff through it, because I should be teaching them good habits about perspective and everything. If you want to learn, like, hardcore perspectiving, go look up a tutorial, because it's really time-consuming, and generally I don't do it that much anymore. And I've found that sometimes when not sometimes, almost all the time, when you're working with a character who's not very realistic and you're working with like hyper realistic perspective, it kind of looks a little off. Like if you've ever seen like anime characters inserted over like realistic backgrounds and things like that, it's weird. So, you know, just keep it loosey goosey, you know, nobody's like gonna be like quizzing you on all this. So again, if you keep it believable, the world is your oyster. I don't even know. Okay, so now we're gonna work on her. And I kind of got myself backed into a corner because I already used red on the perspective lines. But, alright, so what's nice about the perspective lines is we're going to be using those to set up her anatomy as well. I'm trying to think where I should start here. I guess just the shoulders. That's usually where I start. Shoulders and ass. So she's pretty sunk back into the seat. She would actually be sitting out a little more, especially because she's like rocking while she's driving. So she would be out here more. Let's see here. So her butt would be here. There's so many lines. I apologize. I'm just gonna throw my filter layer over that so that I can see a little bit easier, or for you guys to see a little bit easier what I'm doing here. So, let's see. Also, because there's some construction going on around the house, I might have to stop the video at some point here and wait for them to back off. So both of her legs are, the first time I looked at this, I thought she was like slamming both of her feet into the pedal, and now I'm not so sure. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you would hit the, I'm so out of it. I haven't driven in a while. I'm trying to think, what foot do you hit the gas with? But generally it's your right foot. So and don't worry, I realized she has cool, like, monster feet, and I won't forget to do something special with those. But I think that it would be a little better if one of the feet, or yeah, like one of her legs are bent so that her left foot would be maybe resting on the ground as opposed to being right in a line with the other, just so that you have a little bit more rhythm in the drawing rather than just like both the legs. Like you wouldn't have both the arms just like, you know, holding on to the steering wheel like doo doo doo. Like she's not a Sunday driver, you know what I mean? She's rocking it out. So I think for the feet you would also want something similar. Now, probably the thing I'm going to feel the most bad about is redrawing the hand, or the head, because her head is pretty big, and I'm not sure if she's supposed to be like that, like that's, because I know she's like a species, like a creature. I read a little bit about her on his DeviantArt, but I still wasn't sure if the head was supposed to be that big. I'm going to shrink the head down a little bit after I draw over top of it, just to fit the perspective of the image and everything, but if it's supposed to be bigger, make it bigger. I'm not going to stop you. So, okay. So let's draw the back of the skull. Oh, she's got a cool tongue. I just realized that. I'm actually gonna just rotate this a tiny bit. That's a Photoshop thing. Okay, so I'm just trying to think here. So a little skull anatomy for you. Even though this is a cartoony character, they're still gonna have some anatomy in the skull. So this is kind of like there's sort of a backwards S shape on the skull. This actually probably be a little more forward. But there's sort of like an indent where the sides of your head, I just like tapped the sides of my head like you can see, the sides of your head sort of flatten. So, because, you know, heads aren't totally round, they're kind of flat on the side. We've been over that in other videos. So, and then you would follow this down to sort of your cheekal bone eye socket region, and then this hooks down to form the top of the jaw. Or I should say the bottom of the top jaw. Okay? So this is like where your teeth would attach and where your gums would be and all that. Alright? Now again, she is a creature, so, you know, the anatomy doesn't have to be dead on. We can totally just like do whatever we want and have fun. So then the bottom jaw connects right about in there. Okay? And again, she's a creature. Normally this would be kind of like this. We're gonna go way more extreme than that. We're gonna be like, yeah. Like she's unhinging her jaw, okay? I love monster drawings. I kind of want more monster drawings now while I'm working on this. I hate to call her I shouldn't say she's a monster, but you know, she's not human. She's a creature of some kind. Alright, so let's do her nose. Okay, so let's draw a little bit of a guideline here. So this line here is going to be the front of the eye. Sorry, I'm just going to make this a little darker. I'm just going to erase a little bit here just so we can kind of all see what's going on. Okay, so I'm actually not very good at nose anatomy, but it's okay, we're going to get through this. But the nose is, I'm trying to find a quiet place in this trying to work on the side a little bit. The nose is from the front a triangle. Maybe more of like two triangles together. Yeah, that's a better. And then there's kind of a boxy part. Don't you love my anatomy terms? There's a boxy part in the middle. This is where your little nostril bumps are. Okay, and then you have a round part there. Alright? And then, so inside the skull, like if you could take somebody's nose off, like a la Phantom of the Opera, you would have two rather large holes there. Okay? So, and then, you know, your nostrils like go up into that. Okay, so that's kind of what a nose is like. And then from the side, same sort of deal. Alright, so we're doing that there basically. I'm softening it though. I don't like to draw as many like details, especially on female characters, because sometimes it can like age them. They'll look older when you start putting more lines on a character's face. So, and I think she's supposed to be young, youthful type character. I could be wrong. I'm always wrong. So now we're going to do the eye, and so we're going to draw our socket. Then we're going to draw the eyeball. And what's interesting here is this is like a very like proto art technique where you, no matter which way a character's facing, the eye is drawn as though it's from the front, like the kind of not almond shaped, but I don't know what you call that, like a curved diamond-y shape. So you see that a lot of times in, I keep using I would say the word like proto art, but like kind of like ancient art. That was like a very common thing. It was sort of like the eye was always facing out towards the viewer. But for our purposes, for educational purposes, we are going to be drawing the eye from this, the side. And if you still want that feel of like the triangle, just add a little bit of the tear duct. And I think she's supposed to kind of be like, yeah, let's give her some rage in them brows. She's hardcore. Okay. So let's do the lips. I'm not really going to change the teeth because I think they're supposed to kind of be like whatever this creature is, like for this species. Or the tongue. I'm not going to mess with the tongue. You definitely want to draw the other side of the mouth though. So like this would all be dark. And I mean, we're going pretty uber cartoony here, so actually this eye I think should be set back just a little further. Yeah, that feels better. Okay, so this is actually something I do a lot in my own art. So like if I'm drawing a character from the side, let me come up here and draw it. So, and they have their mouth open like they're yelling or yawning or whatever. And I draw the teeth and the tongue. Now, even though you're supposed to be viewing them from basically dead on at the side, I still draw the interior of the mouth a little further forward on the back sides, just to kind of indicate that that's closed, because it just, trust me, it doesn't look right if you don't do it like that. So, do as I say. Do it. And don't give me any of that anime side mouth stuff, like when people draw their mouths like that, and you can like, it's like a hole and like a weird puckered thing. Oh. Okay, look, you can do it, but it's weird. Don't do it! No, I can't. Alright, so let's draw, I believe these are supposed to be horns that have been cut off. It could be goggles, but that is not for me to know. All I know is I'm assuming they're supposed to be cylindrical, so. Just make sure you draw through your shapes. And I'm going to now shrink her head into this. Let me get rid of some of these extra lines though first. I'll just kind of lightly scribble over them so you can still see kind of like the shadow. Okay, so I'm going to shrink her into place, draw some hair, and then I'm going to go over the effects of this image. And then I think we'll be good to go. Okay, so her head, oh, This has all got to go. So her head would actually be further forward and smaller. Something about like that. Okay. Sorry, I'm just kind of... Come on! I'm trying to collapse 2 layers here. There it goes. It was just giving me some problems. Okay, let me just clean some of this up. Still not totally happy with the anatomy of her. Her chest region. Like her torso is kind of bothering me. I think I've made her a little too long in the... We love you, Polygon Lasso tool. Yeah, so we're just gonna scoot her forward just a teensy tiny bit. Perf! Alright, and oh, I forgot her arm in the back there. So I'm gonna actually do that in a different color real quick. So she's like holding on to the top. Something to that effect, though. One of the things that I'm a little hesitant about with this drawing is there's a lot of tension points. There was one here with their horns to the top of the window, which has been fixed just from making her head a little smaller and kind of moving her body around. I'm kind of running into it again now, though, with having her hand back here, and I'm not really sure what to do about that, other than changing the pose entirely, like having her arm more like that, like leaning, you know, something to that effect. I'm going to leave it like this for now, though, just to kind of give you a general marker, but this line here kind of coming into the space of the edge of the face, space to the edge of the face, is kind of distracting. So if you want to change that, you dare. If you don't, you dare. I'm not gonna track you down. Okay. So let's do her hair. I love the pretty hairs. I'm just going to do it in purple because I'm running out of colors. I think her neck area might be kind of long too, but alright, So there's the hair. I'm also going to take this time to take this moment and this color to briefly go over the effects. And we'll, there's two big effects in the original drawing. Is mud and the music. So we're going to go over the mud and the music, and then I think we'll be done. Oh, and I should probably go over the shoes a little bit. So in the original, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a duplicate of this and put it on top so I can just turn it on and off. Alright, so in the original, the mud was kind of just put on with a soft brush, and it ends up sort of making it hard to define, or at least for the viewer to define, where certain lines are. And so it just kind of softens the whole image. And she has like this awesome blue skin, so you'd want that to show through just a teens more, even if she was totally doused in mud, okay? So one of the ways to go about doing that is to actually draw the mud, rather than just like kind of airbrushing it on. So I'll just do some on her leg, for example. So and you don't, it should have an outline, but it doesn't have to be black. It can be like brown. Like you could do this. Well, it's not going to look as good because she's kind of drawn in different colors and stuff, so it's going to be like, what? But you could like draw it in brown, like the outline, and then do like a lighter brown on the inside. So I would say draw it as opposed to just sort of fluffing it on, like airbrushing it on. Did I say I was going to do the shoes? Well, I'll do them real quick. So I'm not going to go over them in any lengthy detail, but watch for the perspective on the straps. And make sure you're drawing through your shapes. Like this one actually looks really good. Alright, so there's the shoes, and oh, the last thing I wanted to go over was the music. So I actually think, I was at first going to tell you to just crop the image, like to cut out this whole top part, because I thought it was too much. But then, you know, after sitting and looking at it for a while, I decided, nah, just leave it the way it is. But one thing you can do to kind of make the music look a little cooler is, again, don't airbrush the notes. Actually draw them. I'm just trying to find like a color that'll really pop. Okay, yeah, that'll do good. So what I would do for the music is it's radiating out of the radio. So you've already made it like a lighter color and added other colors to it to kind of emphasize that that's where the music's coming from. So I would do a rough sketch of like where you want the like images of the music notes to be, rather than just scattering them, so that you have like an idea. See, like I already don't like that. Okay, and that way you know just where the music's gonna be coming out of the radio. Yeah, so like I don't like some of that. Now mind you, this like red outline I'm doing wouldn't be in the final version. You would want to get rid of that. And then you can either use a brush, or I would say freehand it. the music notes, and I would make them like kind of like jagged and funky, and give them interesting outlines and shapes. I'm just kind of... And you would have those like going up into this, and I mean, and by the time they get up here, you should have them be like really huge. You know, like you're in the passenger seat with her, and these are coming at you, you know, these big old music notes, and you could even have some like overlapping each other, some scattered to the edges a little bit. So something like that, I think, would be cool. And I'm gonna say that's that'll do it. So yeah, there's a quickie on fixing the perspective. What did I go over? I have a list here. I roughed out the guidelines for the perspective and everything. Did the anatomy, did some details on the profile, and then we went over the effects of the mud and the music. Gotcha. Alright, so I hope that'll help you out when you go to work on it. Again, I want to thank Karubi Shell at deviantart.com. You should check out their work. And I think that'll be it. Alright, cool. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!